Yeah, so I'm high tech. I'm here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ankie. And I move on. I see Art van Kreken in the screen.
Hi, it's me, Art van der Kreken, GrowX, vertical farming in Amsterdam.
Thank you, Art, and I like it that you keep it short. The next one is Steven Mueller.
Yes, sir. Hang on a second. Let me get myself back into the room here and get my mute off. I'm off. Okay, good. Hi, Steve Muller here. Is my video on or not?
Yes, it is. We see you.
Okay, good. Well, I'm pleased. This is my first time joining you. We wear two hats. It's a Dutch company with headquarters in Venlo and in the Limburg region, and a corporate headquarters based in San Diego. So we're binational, but all my employees are based here. All our technology is based here in Holland, and we've been around for about 10 years, not done a whole lot. Now we're building facilities to make a solid board from recycled paper and agricultural materials. And I sort of feel that the value we can contribute is that for interiors of a lot of the properties we're talking about on this call, the Ecor product is well proven. It's a well-established product. So I think.
All right, Steven. The idea is, thank you, Steven. I appreciate your explanation. And Steven Mueller is from Ecor, just to be sure that everybody knows. And Steven, later on, there's more opportunity to elaborate on the company. And just for all of you, I sent all your companies and links and LinkedIn and websites to our partners in LA. So they had the chance to read it.
Great.
Thank you, Steven. I'm moving on to Tjeerd from Space and Matter.
Yeah, Tjeerd here. Space and Matter, we're a spatial and strategic design firm from Amsterdam, focusing on area development and trying to do that within the circular economy principles. And today I took Lydia to the call. She's also joining.
Thank you, Tjeerd, and welcome, Lydia. And then I see Dick Bernauer in the call. Oh, you're on mute, Dick. Oh, Dick, let me see. Dick, you're still on, now you're unmuted.
I'm unmuted. Hey, thank you, Peter. So I'm Dick Bernauer with Sempergreen. Head office is based in just outside Utrecht, the Netherlands, but I'm Sempergreen USA is based in Washington, D.C. We do green roofs, indoor and outdoor living walls all throughout North America.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you so much. Moving on to Brian from Metropolder.
Hi, everyone. Brian Schmidt from Metropolder. We focus on water capture and circular water design, a lot of times as the foundation for green roofs and living projects. We are based in Rotterdam, Netherlands, but we have projects now developing in the US as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Brian. And I see Rowdy Bell.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Rowdy. I'm from the company Ledix. We're based in Wapenveld, just below Zwolle in the Netherlands. And we create sustainable and circular waterproofing membranes made from plastic waste. And now we introduced the first product 5 years ago, which is a lead replacement. And in Dubai next month, next month, we will introduce the world's most sustainable roofing membrane, flat roofing membrane. So yeah, first time here. So nice to see you all.
Thanks, and great you could make it, Rowdy. Thank you so much. I see Mark Rico. He's still muted and blinded.
There we go. Mark Rico, Hydroloop, based out of the Netherlands. I am here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Happy to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And then Willemijn Wortelboer.
Yes, there I go. You see me?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Willemijn, owner of Raw Paints. We developed mineral paint powder to which you add water and then have paint yourself. So we're now trying to expand the business beyond the borders of the Netherlands, and hopefully the US is a good next step. I couldn't be there the last time, sorry. And I'm actually in another office in France, so I don't know when I will be kicked out here. Hopefully I can join in later then. So
All right, welcome Willemijn, and at least good that you're
Thanks.
here right now.
Good.
And then Ruben Dubela from Holland Circular Hotspot.
Hi, great to see everybody. My name is Ruben Dubelaar. I represent Holland Circular Hotspot, and I'm the coordinator for the public-private approach on circular urban development. We try to create a Dutch cluster working together with partners in California. So I'm very glad to see this initiative and to see everyone together here, and looking forward to this session. Thanks, Peter.
Right, and thanks for being here again, Ruben. And then my dear colleague in San Francisco, Jan Top.
Yeah, hi everyone, good morning. My name is Jan Top, working exactly with Peter and Milene on a daily basis. I'm based out of San Francisco, and I'm the advisor for infrastructure and water management here. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Jan, and definitely also like to say to give some credits to Milene, who is doing all the technical part of this. Milene, would you also like to do a shout out?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Milene Jankowski. I work with Peter at the MBSO LA. Welcome to everybody, and looking forward to this session.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. And I see Manuel. Manny is also here. Welcome, Manny. Great to see you. So we're going to the even more exciting part. We later on, we're going to break up the group into 3 rooms. And in each room, a project will be discussed. And also in these rooms, you will meet the people that are in that picture. So the idea is really that, you know, perhaps the first 1 or 2 minutes, it's good to have a little bit of extra information about the projects, but it's really trying to find out from each other whether there is a fit or not. You know, if there is not, that's not a problem. We still are good friends then. But if there is a fit, then it's definitely today the time to see how we can hit the ground running, as Elena always says. So if everybody's ready, and if especially Milene is ready, then we're gonna move on to the first breakout session, which will take approximately like 30 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll open the rooms.
If I may ask, what's the main, because we're all, let's say, keen on developing very sustainable and circular neighborhoods. What's for you the key drive or incentive to make this as sustainable as possible? Do you want to use it as a kind of a showcase project yourself, or what's the main incentive for that?
The interesting is to really prove that we can be sustainable. We can be new, modern with technology, and it can be, how you say, cost effective. This is really the idea, and also for us to prove that we want to keep going on controlling projects and not be always dependent on the funding and on the investor who actually decide the entire process, but are okay to go with us as far as possible, as long as there is a good return of investment on other elements. Like we say, if we become the grid and the power is one source of income, the water is another source of income. Even if we have a little bit less income coming from a rent or from the sales part, because we are going a little bit further in the technology and in the smart city idea, then that makes sense and is a good fit. So really, the idea here is to see how we can bring the extreme of what we want to prove. If we can do that and it makes sense, then for sure the how you say, the canvas, the field is open. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Hey, Angela, one more question. If I look at the map here, how much is that set in stone? All these different plots? Because,
0.
okay.
There is no set in stone. That was a first really graph, and actually, if the contract is happen, we are restarting a new rendering of the entire project.
Okay.
Soon. So
because a lot of the sustainability of a neighborhood is also in the use, you know, so that you, for instance, can walk to your supermarket, this kind of stuff.
You're right. No, believe me, all that part has to be. We usually work on all the aspect of where the wind come from, how the sun turn every hour of the day. Every part of it has to be implemented.
And another, I think, unique thing here is unique for LA. It has all 4 seasons. So you mentioned, Angelo, it even has snow at a certain time of the year. It's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
crazy.
This area is high on altitude, so it has all the weather and all the season possible. So it's really interesting, and it's actually beautiful in every moment of the year.
Yeah, what I also see is I think you have I think that is absolutely great, because if you have the 4 seasons, but I also say towards renewable energies, for example, I would say you stay partially on the grid, but also you create, of course, renewable energies with you can make a solar farm, you can do a wind farm, you can do a water farm, because you have those sources. You can make a food farm, and I think all these ingredients, I don't know all the soil and research and further environmental aspects. But can you tell me, as my question, what was the actual land use before this? What is it exactly now? Can you tell me a little bit more about the history of this particular piece of land?
So but let's go really far. It was owned by an Indian tribe, a native Indian tribe, and there are historical areas in there that we actually would like to keep, almost like a small museum, but that people can go around. Like you still have big rock over there where you can see that they were used to cook. They were used like 200, 300 years ago in those areas. So that's the beginning of the history. Then this non-profit who bought that property, who is actually still virgin, right now is empty. It's been a little bit graded by us and by one of the contractors who were there before, but that's it. So it's still wild as a place, but graded. So we have a lot of road pre-made. So there is no covering on those roads, but there were it was a one person who lived there all year long, who had a couple of big machines and was going around slowly, create that, and we create a well, we create 3 ponds, really huge ponds of water. There are horses right now, so is a company who own horses, and they are rented to the horse. But the first idea was the owner is a non-profit. And their first idea was to create a camp for all the kids that they are. Is a non-profit of a reinsertion of kids who were really too far in the bad system. You know, the delinquent juvenile. You know, going to juvie and all that. So they are reinserting them to school and the project and the reality. So they tried to do that, but it was they had a blockage from all the neighbors around, because you know what they are. They thought it's going to create problems. So they have that land and they don't know what to do really exactly with the land. And when they start to put it for sale, we went and we negotiated, and we had a really good understanding with the owner. And this is the contract we really have right now. So it's really a virgin. I will send the address if it's not there, and you guys can go to Google Earth and watch the land. Chimi, my partner, have a drone video also. I don't know if he's on the link, but you can go to see also. Is beautiful. But when you like real estate, it's impossible to don't fall in love with that property. It's crazy. Every time we got there and right now there is a small house, like a small house. It's a 3-bedroom house there, and everyone we can go. We could pass the weekend over there, have a barbecue, and actually go with the horses and visit.
On estate. Nice.
It's even snowy on Google Maps, I guess. It's all white.
Oh yes, you have a, and I don't know if now it's already snow, but probably that picture was taken when he was.
So Angela, that is, we have 1 minute left, so soon the button will pop up, and just like a small pre-survey for Tjeerd and Antonius and Lydia, you know, if we want to continue this conversation, would for you guys, let's say the mid-November be an option to maybe have site visits here and meet up with each other and have a deeper brainstorm about this?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I suppose that would be interesting.
Okay, and maybe at that time there will be snow as well, so you can bring your boots.
For sure, by then it might be snow.
No, okay, no, that's great. Then yeah, I love I mean, as you said, Angelo, if you love real estate, then you probably can. We all can talk for hours about this, and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the Netherlands is quite dense, but in LA, this is of course a little bit to the north of LA, but this is also for LA standards where it's very crowded and urban. It's a very, very unique, I would say, project. And, you know, I'm going to say that maybe later on again. I feel, Angelo, that we found a needle in a haystack with you guys, because as you also mentioned, most people are just looking for profits or cost reduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Good to hear that you're on the same page as as we are. It's very nice.
Oh, it's been our fight since this is actually why we are here, because we can see that we are fighting for the same cause. So it's great.
But you have found your ways to, you know, you still probably have your battles, but I also feel like you guys found your way to still let it happen, because a lot of sustainable innovation is not happening due to regulations and other red tape.
We have a technique for that. You like, because for the past 16 years we've been bringing new technology, so we can help also to have certification in Los Angeles or in California. If you guys need, we know the trick to do it. We can talk about that next time.
Yeah.
On site, preferably.
Yes.
And how many sites you're working now? Because one project is not in here. I think we have 4 sites now that
yes.
Are ongoing.
We have 4 projects right now.
But I think for Tjeerd and Antonius, this project might be the most interesting one, because it's concerning a lot of land.
And the right
Absolutely.
moment.
Absolutely right moment and in the right stage. So I think, and I cannot speak for Tjeerd and Lydia, but I do think we should see it ourselves. I will bring my own drone with me as well, and I will absolutely showcase also another project we have done that's almost similar with all the ingredients. So yeah.
Angela, I hope you still have energy left. I see you're also in the car. So this is last round. I see Brian and Mark, and I expected also Sempergreen here. These companies, maybe it's also good that they shortly say they're more on the water side, where Hydroloop has a decentralized water reuse system, and Metropolder has a water reuse system for the roofing, the roofs. But yeah, maybe you would also like to, for the 3rd time, give it a little bit of a background of the Fraser Park project. Would you like me to again put up the slide? Is that helpful, Angela?
Yes, you can. Is okay. But water is really important. So it's great that we talk about water. So the
Do you see the slides?
Not yet. I'm going to see it in a second. Yes, now we see the.
Oh, okay. Now I
so I use it. I
you
know
can go
it
ahead,
by heart.
Angela. Sorry.
Yes, huh? So go to me. What was yes. So what was really important, even if those slides are not exactly. So what is really important is we have unlimited amount of water inside under the land, and that's one of the source of income that we are organizing for this project. But in general, especially for Los Angeles or every other country we would like to work, our goal is to know how far we could go into the recycling and reusing the water. But really, we are creating solution against laws who are made in California that pretend that we can recycle the water, but we cannot really, and they put weird laws inside. I will give you an example on the way we work right now. So, for example, the law of California says that you can harvest rainwater, yes, but the city of Los Angeles cannot say no because it's a California law, but they can put a rule who make it impossible. So, for example, they say, yes, you can harvest rainwater, but you need to bring a lab test every day, which is impossible for every person to have a lab test. But we negotiate with a company who create biosensors, and we are working with them to create a biosensor test of inside the tank of water that are recycled, to be able to have a monitoring of that water every second, not every day. A lab test every on lifetime. So that's just to explain how far our idea is to go into the water. Water is really important. So let's go back to the project in general. Like that, we can understand this part. So we met the owner of that property, which is 308 acre, or about 180 hectare property, really beautiful property, with one side the mountain, and at about 2 miles from the main freeway who go north and south in California. The idea is to create multiple project on it, but to push the extreme on a smart city and a renewable and sustainable energy. So we have the control of what's going to be built on it. We are looking for an investor. We are talking to multiple ones, but we are looking for an investor who is not afraid of really pushing the envelope far, even if we have to put a little bit more money into implementing those technology. And so the idea is to create about 200 single-family home that will be for sale. Then two building who are about 200 each, multi-unit apartment building, but also it will be mixed use with a hotel or extended stay in the area. We have about 50 acre for a commercial center, and the idea we can bring a supermarket or even hypermarket, because there is nothing around, organic food that we could create in the same area. Then because we made a study and there is no hospital at 25 miles around, we are working on putting an urgent care inside the place, and then also senior housing behind that. So that's about globally, but nothing is set in stone. We can, if it makes sense, we can add other products. Now, one of the things is important is that we try to make as much as possible, if not 100% of the grid, so self-sustaining power that are from the house themselves, the roof and everything, but also we could create a small farm of a solar or wind and or both. So we're really open, but the idea is to be the most sustainable, the most I would say self-sufficient, and also new technology and smart city. Everything we could dream that we've been seeing in our mind, this is why we are in this world today, is what we try to implement in this project. And we are really at the beginning. The global cost was estimated about $180 million, and the project is about 5 year long project.
Thank you, Angela. Any questions from Brian and Mark?
I just have one question, just on the looking at this map here, and you noted a grocery store, organic food. Was there the ability or thought for, you know, some farmland dedicated for farming?
Yes,
or
we
community gardens.
We could
et cetera?
organize some farming for sure. There are a lot of farm around that area, but yeah, it could be in between. It could be an organization of land, of farm for that. It has to be studied.
Right. Okay.
Of what type of food, etc. But yes, the idea is also to know if we can self-sustain again the area. So maybe it could be some farming for the people or the restaurant that are in the commercial center, or to sell to the same. It could be actually the creation of a small market, you know.
Right. Exactly.
Farmer market where everyone around could come on a daily basis, on a Saturday or whatever, and have that in the area.
Yes. Okay.
Angelo, thank you for the presentation. At the beginning, you were saying that the water source that you have is also then, you said it's also a source of income. So the water is, as I understand it, you have the rights to the water, but can you explain a little more about the income model behind it? And just the reason I ask is that I think it opens up a really interesting opportunity for the smart city component of everybody being aware of what resources are being used, shared, or repurposed in a closed system, even if it is a large closed system. And what we focus on is that aspect for water. So it's kind of leading question, but just to see where it goes.
Yes. So what is great is that geologically we had a study that so there are two giant aquifer behind that mountain, who are a California aquifer, but there is a crack in the earth who actually feed an aquifer under our land, who is about 100 acre big, so huge. They calculate that we could pull 7,500 gallon per minute of water. So now one of the part of that water is that the city is negotiating to have 1,500 gallon per minute because they need water, and that could be a negotiation that, like for example, we give them the water in exchange of be able to have all the entitlement we want. So whatever we try to build to make sense, we can have. That's one of the elements. But then we have also negotiation with other, because we calculate that the entire project, you won't need more than 700 gallons per minute. And really conservatively, if we need the water for the entire 308 acre of his own project. So then whatever is left, we already approach a company of water company to create our own system. I know there is some filtration to organize, but we can always find that, and that will be a big resource of income coming from that possibility. So this is about the water itself. So the water that is there is not coming from the rain; it's coming from aquifer.
Just to highlight, Angelo, we are in very close contact with the metropolitan water districts, since we also have a water cluster. Hydroloop is also part of that. So if you need any entrance via us, then you know where to find me.
Perfect. Yes. But you know, if we have the possibility to work together, and like we say, it's really the beginning, the beginning of the project. So we open to everything will make sense on all the side. For sure, we're gonna sit and then say, okay, those are the problems. Let's see if we can find a solution, and those are the idea. How we bring. We would like to create a round table with the maximum of what I heard today, and also other people who bring solution. There.
Yeah, I know Hydroloop would love to be a part of the planning stages and communications as far as the capabilities of our systems and solutions of taking the gray water and reusing it. Definitely multiple applications here. You have the single family residences plus the multi-use buildings. So we definitely have specific technologies to address both of those. And then, yeah, I love the project. I love the initiative here, the mission. Obviously, that's why we're all here right now.
Exactly.
And I love your guys' mindset to push the envelope, because that's what you have to do. You know, it's where we need to go. We understand it, and you know, it's been neglected far too long, and it's going to take these types of initiatives and companies and collaboration to really just hammer it home and not take no for an answer.
Exactly. Oh, believe me, it's probably our motto.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I have a little bit of dealings in my past life with development planning and things like this, and I understand how it's just a beast. It's a beast. So bless you guys.
Yeah. Go ahead, Angelo.
No. I was saying that that's our when we work on a project and we decide to take it and go further, it has to be freedom to be able to bring to the maximum of where we want to go. But for sure, it has to make sense also. You don't want to increase 40% cost just because you want to implement something new. But at the same time, it's the moment that we implement those new elements, because if not, nobody take care of it. Everybody talk about it, but in reality, there is no place, you know, where we can bring that initiative, and that's really our goal is to have projects from small to big, where the limit is actually to don't have a limit. Is to bring and show that it makes sense. Show that actually there are solutions out there that can make our planet in a better place at any level. The planet, the human, and even actually I want to say the aesthetic and the income, but nobody has the time to put that together and take care. So to me, it's really a blessing that we met Peter now, because it will save a lot of time of looking for those solution, even if we've been doing that for a long time, and we have some solution on construction process on our side too. But here is really great because we really could put, you know, around the table all the solution and not have to think about, oh, do we have the experience? Do we have, you know, the longevity? You know, you come, if Hydroloop become part of it, Hydroloop is responsible for whatever Hydroloop is bringing in. So Absolutely. It's interesting to take that out of our mind, you know, and say, okay, if we implement, this is what we give. Those are the numbers, and now let's do it. You know,
absolutely, yeah. And running parallel with legislation to try, you know, the subsidies is a big play, and right now with the current, you know, state that we're in globally, especially here in California, when you're talking about water and sustainability. You know, it's a big window of opportunity here because, like you said, you know, the cost usually increases with new technologies and new processes and whatnot. And so to find where you can subsidize a little bit there, because you're able to show them, hey, this is a return on investment for our planet, for our well-being and humanity, right? And so that's the mind shift that we're in right now culturally, to say, hey, it's time to start investing in our planet more than we have been, in sustainability, humanity, for lifestyle, etc.
So this is why it was difficult in the beginning. We even lost a big investor about 8 months ago because of that part. But we found other investment, like for example us here. Is to find, when you try to push the envelope on a project like this one, you would like people where their return is not only the money at that moment, so they could reduce their profit,
right?
And but in exchange having something else, like we are talking to a company called TPT Global right now, with a brand new international publicly traded company, and they want to create a buzz, increase the share value. So right now is not a return of investment per se as a money that they are looking for, but more the image that he will create behind that. So if we can sign the deal with them or someone like that, then it's really interesting. It will be a return of investment, but we can push the envelope because they are not on the numbers. You know, they are not looking, oh, it's not enough or is not
right.
That's why we really want to control and push the project like this one. So
yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean those are the players. They're in it for the long game, right?
Exactly.
And they have a little bit more of the global mindset, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, no, so important. Can't agree more.
Well, happy that we have like-minded people in the room, and I feel Brian also wanted to maybe follow up on his first question, or.
No, I agree with the sentiment, and just to throw in, I guess from where Metropolitan comes, we built our technology, or we kind of cut our teeth on capturing and managing rainwater, but we now look at sites and buildings as a circular, system and opportunity. So if the water is coming from the ground, and then you want to build up, pull up your water to have a green roof, a green wall, or if it's most efficient to then have a rooftop garden, something like this, we can make sure that you're using the optimal amount of water for your site and that purpose. And then we also have the sort of software to monitor where the water is going, how it's being used, and what systems it's part of. I'm not sure the monitoring that you are doing yourself for the water quality, but I can imagine it's something that can also be built into a dashboard that we host. So you basically have a control center where you can say, okay, this is the water, this is the quality, this is the different areas and buildings. And if you're always comparing that to how much is being taken out of your aquifer versus how much is being used in each building and eventually cleaned and returned to your aquifer, it's an amazing thing that you can put and display to your residents, to entice people to want to be part of the community, but also to show that it's possible to further developers and give back the information to those developers who stuck with you as their, as a star, to say, they trusted it, and now we have the metrics to prove that it was possible, and use that to go forward. So I think it's whether it's from the ground or from the air, we will find an efficient way to use your water.
To use it. That's fantastic. One thing is really important when we do project like this one is the data and the monitoring. So to tell you a little story about it we tried to find who were creating those biosensors. The same sensor that you put in the insulin test is a biosensor. So those biosensors can check or monitor microbe, bacteria and viruses and dirt into any element in the air, and etc. So we went to negotiate with. We discovered that LG, for example, in Korea is one of the main maker of those sensors. And I went to Korea 3 years ago to negotiate with them to make a deal to be able to use those sensors. And we create the software who goes around that sensor. So now if you have one, it will be easy to implement those and add into the water. And if we have water tank, if we have water recycling, to add monitoring. But we want to have monitoring for everything, not only the water, the air, like for example, we create a system for leaking. So we just finished a small software that it will check if there is a leak into a pipe before the leak arrives, and the sensor will check that and will shut off the valve if there is a leak into that. And that's what we've been working on for a couple of years now. And you see, for example, in your world, because you guys do the software too, for example, we had to make understand the sensor, the difference between leak and condensation. And that was fun to engineer and work and put that into the test. So we are in the same work also of that. This is why we are an R&D company at the same time on the project. But this is just for the little story.
Yeah.
So
Good to
okay,
hear.
I think if you have other question, I'm
Angelo, yeah, I mean, each time I think I've heard it all, but I learn in every session more from you, Angelo. Thank you so much, and that triggers me. There is also, if you talk about air, do you really mean the entire area of this plot of land to measure the air quality, or is it more inside the buildings?
Both area
Okay.
and building. So the idea is to create really is an even place where we probably didn't thought about it. The idea is to really have the maximum data coming from this place. The maximum,
Okay.
even the behavior of the people who are living, maybe not in their house. We can see how far they accept to give us those data, but in the building, in the hotel, we can have an understanding of the information and the data from those sensors who come into place.
Okay. That's good. I might connect you to a Dutch company that is normally focusing on cities, and they have far more detailed information about the air quality, which helps cities to do better decision making. But you're almost building a village here, so maybe this is also interesting to be connected.
Interesting. Because what is long to make is the software who harvest those data. So this is when company already have one, and they've been working on something that actually works and have already experienced. That's a lot of time gain. So this is why we really open on that.
Yeah, and it's you're very multidisciplinary. That's why I feel so. You have your R&D, you do project development, you are investing in property. So it's it's easy to talk to you because you quickly can make a connection. And also to the Dutch participant, I also the other two groups. This is all very good, very positive vibe. But what if if we really want to do some site visits and have some in-person meetings, maybe even dive deeper? Would you, Brian and Mark, be willing and able to, for example, come down to LA mid-November, let's say 16, 17 of November?
Yeah, that's very possible. There may be even a possibility I might be down that way around that time frame. As it is, yeah, I'll actually be doing a California tour, and it possibly might be around mid-November. But yeah, I would 100% would be interested in making it down there for an in-person meet.
Thank you. And Brian is a little bit, it's in the Netherlands, so that's a bigger trip.
Yeah, but I'm actually. We have 2 installations of projects going in New York in November. So I will be probably in New York around middle of November to December. So it's a bit closer than Holland. It's still a bit far, but if the schedules line up and I'm spending the time in the US, then it also is possible to come out. I would propose, just like I spoke to the other groups, that any sort of information, the sort of numbers of gallons and acres on the water, and the sort of ambition and any design plans that can be shared. The first step we can make is basically a draw up of your baseline options, your highest level option, and then somewhere in the middle, incorporating different technologies, ways to make it circular. And from there, we can get a kind of an idea of what things you are interested in. The more we can be involved in that design conceptually, the easier it is when we are going to be doing the architecture and engineering of installing this hardware and stuff. So to say we can do a lot virtually, but then of course looking forward to being there for a site visit in person when I can be.
Fantastic.
Great.
That's great. I'm just checking This all we are doing great, nicely in time. I'm checking in with Mylene how the other group is doing. No, and Brian, you can jump in the plane together with Antonius, who's also in New York. So
yeah, exactly.
No, and I think Angelo, what I think it's I talked to Mark. Mark is also from Hydroloop involved in the water cluster. That's really, I always say that's the big work. So we talked to the LADWP, Metropolitan Water District, LA Sanitation. That goes very well as well. We figured that the Netherlands is also doing interesting stuff over there. But I also, because I felt when I talked to you, Angelo, you think very big, and I know Hydroloop also thinks very big. They want to have a big impact, so they put their efforts there. But I said you really have to come, Mark, because I feel there are some like-minded people here, and I'm very happy that you guys met now in this breakout.
Yes.
No, very grateful for the opportunity here, and yeah, I definitely will be down there and make it happen.
Yeah, and we need these projects because, as you say, people can talk about it, people want it, but there's a difference in talking and really making it happen.
It's the way we got to change the world, right? Yeah. not gonna do. I mean, Angelo said it best. I mean, you can keep talking about technologies and what can be done, and and you get stuck in the conversations and no action. So you got to push the envelope. So I love it. Absolutely.
Right. Hey, we can just leave the room and then we will end up in the main room. Then we can just fall into their conversation, and then we're going to go towards the wrap up.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Don't leave meeting, by the leave room.
Way too long to build at the capacity that we're looking at. And so this is why GloGreen's philosophy, first off with the manufacturing, automatically you build faster because part of our manufacturing integrates automation. And we have all the conceptuals and all the feasibility studies done already for this. And then also with the materials that we have already that is incorporated into the factory, you pretty much have these modules that would transport that would be transported to site, stacked up, and then which would require a little bit of labor to be incorporated in putting the finishing touches together. So it's a very basic structure. It's not like prefab specifically where you have one specific or two or three or four specific designs. You can have any sort of design incorporated into this manufacturing facility, and that this is I guess what I was describing as the manufacturing facility. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And what kind of material do you use to actually construct the houses? Is that steel? Because I saw on your site a little bit of steel work, or is it another type of material?
Exactly. So we have three materials specifically that we've I guess kind of created or manipulated. First off is the substructure or the structure, which entails the shipping container. And the only reason why is because shipping container has quartz and steel, and that's a really strong steel. And in terms of when you talk about a circular economy, a lot of these containers, especially in the Port of Long Beach or in LA, they go to waste, or they're just stacked, sitting there and wasting. We actually talked to one of the commissioners, and we can access these containers for really cheap and free. Matter of fact, one of our prototypes right now in Calabasas, a little bit north, we have built one that we approved, permitted, and has been inspected and tested, and are in the finishing stages of it. Next, and we can go all the way up to 25, 26 stories high with these containers based on our structural calculations.
Without extra structural support system?
There will be a little bit of reinforcing, but it wouldn't require too much. And we've proved that again in our prototype right now.
Okay. So how many stories again? 20?
It can go all the way up to 26 stories.
Wow. And is that the kind of high like height that you are planning in the site we're talking about in Fraser Park?
So this is going to be more of a community, and based off of our initial study, we're planning on doing about 5-6 stories because we don't want to impede on the aspect of nature. So no, we don't want to make a 26-story on the specific site. But yeah, we would like to obviously maximize as much as we can, and it also depends on zoning as well. That the city would permit us to build to a specific height.
Yeah, and is there already a zoning plan made by the local government?
So no, there isn't. There isn't a zoning plan made yet. Again, it's still initial phases. It's still in the initial phase. So this will be next steps. I know for sure that the city is encouraging us to build here because there's a lot of commuters that come from Santa Clarita, which is a city really close by, that goes to LA or Santa Barbara. So there's a need for housing, a need for medical facilities, commercial space, and other types of industrial space and other types of construction types in this development.
Right. So and the development is then not just catering itself, but also the current community that's already there, right? So
exactly.
Benefit. Yeah. Super interesting. And I read in the email that there were now 400 homes planned.
So that is the estimate that we have planned. Yes, it would be about 400 homes. Again, 400 homes is honestly little for 308 acres. We could definitely fit a lot more, but it's going to be done in phases. So phase 1 would be to have 400 homes at least. And then also have like a medical facility and some commercial space that we can fit in. There's going to be non-developed space that will have obviously solar panels or with photovoltaics or any other sustainable materials that we can incorporate there. And even also there's going to be undeveloped areas where we don't want to touch and preserve the land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you? Can I also ask you for in reference to the zoning? I'm also a licensed realtor here in New York and New Jersey, and I deal also with land development. So if it comes to zoning, what is your projection then? Because zoning, even the community or the local government will say, hey, yeah, we are interested, but I'm still busy already for 4 years, for example, with the land development, and we are talking about a multi-use zoning, which you are talking as well about, because you're talking about residential, commercial, you're talking about land conservation. That are fantastic things, but they have to come together. And in such a development, you mentioned 308 acres. A lot of lines need to be, let's say, tuned. So what is your projection then on time when you really are going to, let's say, implement, for example, shipping containers, or you're going to do your infrastructure, if you talk about the energy, utilities. Can you tell me a little bit more about your planning time-wise?
Right. So thanks for that question, Antonius. And that's a great question. So planning time-wise, this is a long-term project. It's again, it's broken up in multiple phases. It can't be done at one time. In terms of how we plan on facilitating that with the city, it's very strategic, and this is what us at GloGreen are really good at, is getting what we want. And the reason why we get what we want is because we do a real deep dive into the specific land. And then we go into the acquisition and we provide strategies for the city that make it impactful for them on a larger scale. Take, for example, the water. Just the water alone that's underground and located in there helps the community a lot, because right now, because the state or the city doesn't have access to that parcel, they have to go and trek and gather a lot of fresh water or potable water for the community there. But if we're able to, it's a give and take situation, right? If we give the city something, they're obviously going to give us something back. And I can go deeper into our strategies, but then you'd have to pay me like $20 million to do that. So, but yeah, but there's a lot of strategies that we have in place. This isn't something that, you know, we struck up. Again, it's taken us about 2 to 3 years to actually conceptualize this, put the planning, come up with our engineering team to come up with the feasibility of it. And when you see the site, you'll already see that a lot of the work is done in terms of the grading of the site, the creating even ponds. Again, the wells have been made, the utility have been laid out. So all those things are set in place because we already see the project where it would go. Does that answer your question, Antonius?
Honestly speaking, no, because it's the following. I want to understand, we're talking about zoning, and you have already certain things in place. In my belief, and I don't know all the Californian laws, but I know a lot of laws in many states, but if you create such an environment, you need to have already commitments and let's say overall plan, because if you're going to build with space and matter housing, for example, or an integrated green facility with art, I think these are all kind of permits and buildings and dwellings which or are being zoned or are being in this gentleman agreement. So I want to understand a little bit more this governmental, let's say, the dynamics here, because again, you also mentioned 2 to 3 years. So I want to have more clarity, and maybe I missed a little bit from the beginning, so my apologies for that. I just want to understand, you say certain things are in place and are already done, and I just want to understand a bit more, what are the discussions about the zoning? Because give and take, I understand as well. However, where are you exactly now? Where are you now? That is what I want to understand better. Does that make sense?
Okay. The room closes in 56 seconds, unfortunately.
Well,
but
try it.
Right. So I just got a notification. Anyway, so where we are right now is still in talks with the county right now. Nothing is locked in place.
Okay.
But they are ready to entertain us in every way, because there is something we have that they need. Does that make sense? So because we have that is huge leverage for this project on its own. And again, and another thing that they need is housing. So, you know, water is better than gold at the end of the day. So because we have that, and it's a natural occurrence, so we're always going to win. So the leverage is higher on our end than theirs.
Thank you.
I think the room's about to break out soon. Right. Hello, everyone.
So yeah, Jimmy, we've got like 3 new companies here in the room. So what we did last time is that we that the companies quickly introduce themselves and their products. So maybe we can do that now as well. And then Jimmy, you can also elaborate a little bit more on the project you're working on, then yeah, go ahead with the Q&A.
All right, perfect. Nice to meet everyone. I just was in the room talking about Fraser Park project, which is a 308 acre project. Did Angelo already speak about that, or did he talk about the Hollywood project? Just to really ask really quick.
This will be our first in this group, and I apologize. I missed the last meeting, so I'm not sure how much was discussed on either of those projects.
Okay. All right. Well, let me kick off and start with the Fraser Park project. That's a 308 acre project that I don't know if you guys have read the executive summary that was shared by GloGreen, but it's in between Los Angeles, at about an hour away from Los Angeles and about 2 hours away from Bakersfield. And this is a very interesting project because it's vacant land. We've been dealing with the owner of the property for about 2 to 3 years now, exclusively negotiating, and they enjoy the concept that we're bringing into this place because the community really needs housing, and they need amenities, and they need a psychiatric hospital. They need hospitals. They need commercial space. So what we at GloGreen have introduced, and what our philosophy is to have a manufacturing facility, obviously that does 80% in the factory, within 100 miles of any project, and 20% is done on site. And this automated factory uses robotics, with utilizing 3 of our specific materials that we've manipulated and also created. Take, for example, the shipping containers. I know that's gotten a weird stigma to it, but with our partnership with Columbia Tech, a company that focuses on automation and robotization, we've been able to really manipulate the steel, which is the strongest steel in the world, Corten steel, in order to create this structure that can go anywhere from 1 to 26 stories high. We have currently proved it with one of our prototypes here in LA, where we've manipulated 4 containers together and stacked them on top of each other, and you can't even tell it's a shipping container. Another proprietary material is our recycled paper for our insulation. And also, we also have a concrete, ultra high performance concrete that we use for all the interior finishes. So all of that incorporated, interior and exterior finishes, all of that incorporated into this manufacturing facility, really drives down the cost. Besides that, we have a team of architects and engineers integrated into the facility, where it's a vertically integrated project development tool for any developer. But enough about me. The reason why I mentioned the factory is because of the scale of this project. We're looking at multiple phases of it. Is that it won't work for a conventional process or traditional process to build. First off, at the speed and timing, but also at the cost as well. This would cost an insane amount, and so this is why we embarked on looking for this project, chasing it down, dealing with the owner, and they're excited about it, is because we have the capacity to be able to produce really fast and at an affordable rate. So yeah, I guess if everyone could give a little brief introduction about themselves and what they do. I know everyone shared their companies, but I just like to hear just a little bit more on how they could potentially participate in this project.
Sure. So Mark Rico, I'm with Hydroloop. We specialize in decentralized gray water recycling. So what we're doing is we are taking the gray water that's produced from a shower, laundry, hand sinks, no kitchen sinks, no dishwashers, no toilets. So just the gray water. We take that, we treat it. After the treating process, it is NSF 350 certified quality water. and then we repurpose that water for the toilets, can be used for laundry, and if there's enough, we can actually send some out to an external irrigation tank of some sort. Our technology is above the rest in the sense that the founders that created Hydroloop really looked at all the failure points in existing technologies around the gray water recycling. And a lot of the failure points was with the filters, membranes, and having to use chemicals to treat the gray water. So our technology uses no filters, no membranes, and no chemicals to treat the water. So it eliminates a lot of the failure points that you've seen in past technologies. And then furthermore, the NSF 350 quality is a huge deal, rigorous 6-month testing to get there. So that is also something very proud to have. We have multiple applications. So we have your simple systems for lower flow, lower demand of consumption. And then we have more robust systems. The one behind me in the picture is a cascade. So that's looping multiple systems together when you're servicing multiple buildings or units all in one closed loop system. And more R&D is still going. I can't talk about certain other products, but more systems are on their way in the next year or 2 years.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Actually, what's interesting is I've used a couple of that, but with a different company. It sounds like you guys are a little bit further ahead. This was like 2 or 3 years back. Greater, I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yes, we have.
Okay. Great company. Sounds similar. Also use the Apricus hot water systems for solar hot water heating as well. So yes, great product. Thank you very much for sharing that, Mark.
You're welcome.
Hi, Jimmy. Good to see you again. Brian from Metropolder. It's actually quite interesting, the group we are here with. So Metropolder is, I'd say, somewhere between Hydroloop and Sempergreen, and we have projects working with both companies, which is great. So we actually focus here in Holland mostly on capturing and reusing rainwater, but we do that with a hardware tool, basically a valve system that controls the capture of water and releases it to other systems. So either to use for irrigation of your green roof or to release it to a system like a Hydroloop where you can reuse it in your building. So we have Eco Cabins project here in Holland where we have a fully circular building that is taking the rainwater from the roof and then adding it to a Hydroloop system so it can be reused in the building. And then because we focus on having the green components as a foundation for most of what we work on is when we bring in something like Sempergreen's green roof systems. So we always advocate for as much green and living walls and life in every project as possible. So we try to position ourselves as somewhat of a hardware provider, but mostly now moving toward being able to offer a monitoring dashboard where you can connect and look at the water that you have on a full site and see how much is going to each area, how much is going to each garden, how much is going to your Hydroloop system, and making sure that you're meeting your either ambitions or your regulations for water use on a building or site. So that's a bit about Metropolder.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Brian. Yes. So yes, that's one of the things. Actually, what's funny is it hasn't rained in LA in a long time, and then literally,
of course,
3-4 days ago, we got like a crazy amount of rain just out of nowhere that no one expected. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits into play. But even just the data that's able to be accumulated from even short-term rainfall, things like that, having that implemented in your building systems, that will be interesting as well. So thanks for sharing that again, Brian.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's we now have projects that we've built in Italy where it also doesn't rain very often. We have some cactuses on the roof. So we are always trying to find a way to take what we've learned with our technology and apply it to different areas. And it can be as much, that if you want to have green living space, you want to use the minimum amount of water possible, and you want to make sure that it's recycled. You don't want to be using your fresh water in LA to, that's why a lot of people are replacing their lawns, right? I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. But you have to ask, what is the most efficient use of your fresh water? And sometimes that's maybe not a garden or maybe not a roof, but if you are providing a cooling effect, if you have a garden that is living and you're being able to use recycled water for it, it makes a lot more sense. And also what you see when it does rain in LA, then you get a lot of water running off, and you get a bit of polluted water that's running into your oceans and rivers. So, we want to make sure that cities are capturing that water whenever it does happen.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'll touch a little bit about the one of the secret sauces of this actual land that has about the water, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. So cool. Is it just I think it's just Mark and Brian, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well then, so one of the secret sauces, since we're talking about water right now, is that this land actually has underground water that comes from the aquifers from, I believe, the San Andreas Fault, and the water just literally trickles down underground this property. The problem with or the good thing, is good and bad, right? Is that this property owns the water rights, but unfortunately, because it owns the water rights, the city or the county cannot touch it. So they have to go and extract water from I'm not sure where they get it from. They have to create wells or tanks in order to where they get water and fill it in, and then they provide that to the community. What we're trying to do is provide access to the community with the water. I'm not sure exactly what or how we could implement Mark and Brian into this using already captured water. And I'm talking about underground, but recycle a lot of it. We could use it as fresh water specifically for the communities. But it's just one thing to think about of ways we can implement already existing water into the projects and how you can tie your technologies and systems in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a capability of, repurposing that water to your point. It's just understanding how it's being collected, the quality of the water, and then where are we trying to repurpose it to, and then what the requirements for that would be. So, but definitely a possibility, I think, or I know it's a possibility. It's just the details working out and understanding what would be needed.
Right. And I deal with a lot of individuals, especially in engineering and architecture, where everyone says experience. But quite frankly, experience has a little to do with it contributes to innovation, but it also hinders and obstructs innovation at the same time. As you guys know, it's like you're doing R&D and stuff. It's like you're going to experiment and all your experience goes straight down the toilet because you're researching and developing, right? So that's the goal of this project, is that everyone knows a lot, but everyone knows a little. And the point of this project is that take everyone's knowledge, but also have the, I guess, the humility to understand that we're building this community in order to shapeshift the rest of, or at least GloGreen's goal is to shapeshift the rest of the world, and seeing that we can implement a lot of technologies, a lot of expertise, a lot of ingenuity into this small city that, quite frankly, a lot of developers that we've dealt with in LA aren't really interested in, because it's not in LA. Everyone wants to chase where the money is, but no one understands that when you're building something in a community that really needs it, and that's one of the things, is this community really needs housing. And if once we're, because we've seen that, and the county has told us this, we take it to heart, and we're like, you know, we have to build something in a very sustainable, energy efficient manner in order to impact the rest of LA, or California, that calls itself a green state, or green, is supposed to be the vision. But I honestly have studied a little bit about the Dutch and the Netherlands, and it's just beautiful how you guys don't stop. It's like always pushing the envelope. So I really, really love that about you guys.
Thanks, Jimmy. I had a quick question. I'm not so, I should be more familiar, but in terms of the fact that the site has its own, it has the rights to its own water. Does that mean that it has the rights to the aquifer below it, and then also to all the rain that, if it ever does come, that falls on it, or is there, say, a finite amount in the aquifer? Because I think what you have is actually a really great opportunity to have a fully circular site if you have a certain amount in aquifer, and you want to make sure that you can count every drop that comes out, how it's used on your site, and then if needed to put it back in your aquifer when it's clean enough. That's really an example of a fully circular system or community.
Brian, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So there, with understanding the amount of water, we know that there's about 1,500 gallons per acre foot currently, based off of the resources and finances that we've been able to implement into this project. That's what we know. Yes, if we do have more finances, then we can go as far as to know the exact amount. And I know it's a lot more, because it's gathering, it's literally rolling downhill and collecting underground, right? And it's not that it's an aquifer, it's the aquifers are coming in, puddling underneath in this, I guess, I don't know what to call it, but underground basin, for lack of better words. Yes, it'll be interesting to see how that first off, ergonomically speaking, ecologically speaking, this site on its own is pretty much a circular economy. And I was saying in the last group, water is more precious than gold at the end of the day. It's very scarce. There's less than 1%. And if there's a city or a community that has its own water, and again, we're able to make it circular and recycle the water, whether through gray water, whether through rainwater harvesting, whether through even just the vegetated roofs, the VAC system uses water cooling and everything through energy recovery ventilation systems. Like, the sky is literally the limit. That's a great point, Brian. So excellent. I don't know if there's any more questions. You guys are more water and or hydro and aqua based technologies. There's a lot of room. It's not. It could be one of those things where we don't. To have one company, like 400 units plus possibly a psychiatric or medical space and a little bit of commercial space. That's a lot of units for everyone to participate in, and a lot of projects for everyone to participate in. So as we continue, and we're still in the beginning stages, so we still have to go through the entitlement process with the city and things like that. We'll be able to more further define exactly what's needed for this project. Again, just to let everyone know, this is a long-term project. It's not like short-term projects. So it's going to take a lot of planning and collaboration as we move forward.
And are you in the process of building the design team now?
Yes. So already vertically integrated into GloGreen is a design team. We have, like I mentioned, I've used Grader and Apricus before. We always or involve the consultants or the expertise of those specific individuals into the design of the actual buildings and things like that. So yes, we're not experts in water systems or gray water systems or any of those things. So we would always accept any knowledge that's provided.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that what we typically do is we would go, if you have a site or you have a building or multiple, if you have your, say, water source and your water constraint, and then you have your ambition, we can then map out for you different options, which would be basically your bare minimum, your ultimate LEED platinum, and then somewhere in the middle. And we can give you these sort of suite of options, including everything from including our roof systems to including hydroloop systems to including the infiltration back to your aquifers, and that's usually something we do to sort of build out the options and capability for your projects. And then for us, when you've picked what you like, then we can help your architects and engineers design it into your projects. I'm assuming this, if it's quite large, it will happen in phases. So I'm not sure if there's sections that you want to work on or how it's going, but that's something that that as Metropoler that we do for projects quite often. And I think that with this circular cluster, what's quite unique is that you have not only Metropoler who has a focus on this on water, but you have access to other companies who now have the time, energy, resource, and ambition to put together these kind of proposals, showing you what's possible. But I think you will find from a lot of us that we are quite used to working with the design teams, and then also giving you some of the architecture and engineering instruction how to build it into your project. So the earlier in the design process, the better, because there's a lot of learning to happen from both sides.
Yes, that's exactly right. The earlier, the better in any sort of design. I've been part of projects where it comes at the end, and then there's a lot of retrofitting, and that is not fun at all. So yes, I totally agree.
Going through go ahead, Brian. Looks like you have a follow-up.
I was just going to say that along with sharing any details you can in the buildings, if you can share that information and the number of, say, cubic meters or gallons per acre of water that you have and any ambition around it, it's good for us to use as a metric to help you reach your goals.
Of course, of course.
I was going to say one thing that would be important for us, obviously we'd be excited to be a part of this and can help, mapping out the requirements on, plumbing design, et cetera. The one thing we would definitely want to understand, though, is what will be required or the capabilities being imposed or not imposed as far as wastewater treatment, because right now with a lot of the money that's coming in from the Biden administration, infrastructure bill, et cetera, a lot of the municipalities are looking at putting centralized treatment plants and really taking all the water and saying, look, we'll recycle and send everything back, gray, black, et al. So I'm curious if that's been a part of the conversation for this type of project. Is it too early for that? Understanding that, because it doesn't mean that Hydroloop still can't be a part of it. We definitely have multiple product solutions that can complement. So just kind of curious around that space, if that's even been a topic as of yet, or that's to come.
No, this definitely a topic of conversation. We're definitely going to need a wastewater treatment, process implemented into this. Matter of fact, the good thing about it is there is already a lot of utilities along that area. I don't know if you guys saw the drone. I think I shared it with Peter, but I can get him to share it with everyone again. There's all the electric lines are there. There will be obviously some more infrastructure that needs to be put in place there. There's already sewage pipes, but obviously because of the scale of this, they're gonna have to be increased substantially. So it's finding the most efficient way to do it. If it's gonna cost a lot more to obviously everything has to be permitted, right? But if it's gonna cost a lot more to tie into the city and the city can't meet the capacity of it, if there's another system that's in that's available that makes sense, absolutely we'd love to look into that for the project.
Yeah, a lot of complementary technologies out there that can help address any of those concerns for sure. So from what I'm understanding right now, the plan would be to tie into existing sewage line, send it to an existing treatment plant. That's the ultimate goal.
Right. So that would be the easiest goal, right?
Right.
Would be to do that. We don't necessarily go for easy because this is a new project. It's more so, again, this is broken up and it's a large scale project. I mean, 400 acres is tiny on 308 acres, right? So it's going to be a lot more than that. I don't know, it could be 1,000 homes. It could be a little less than that. So with that being said, at that capacity, I don't even think tying into the city is probably feasible. So we'd have to, definitely have to look into other technologies that would accommodate for the capacity that's going to be built. So looking long term is more so what we need to do now, as opposed to just phase one of the project.
Absolutely, it's got to be a sustainable business plan.
Exactly.
Very good.
Did Angelo share to everyone about the Hollywood project? I don't know if he touched on that.
I actually missed out on the last call, so it may have been talked about, so I apologize if it was.
No, that's fine. Brian, and sorry to, I guess, repeat the Hollywood project. But for Mark's sake, this is more so a right now project. Mark, I'm assuming Hollywood Hills projects are very iconic. But this one we're trying to really make stand out. According to my research that I've studied, most of them are done in a luxury build, but none of them have received any sort of certification. That's pretty much the goal, is to do both. Do three things: make it luxurious, make it extremely sustainable, but also make it affordable. And yeah, it's a huge task, but it's something that we know how to do well. What we're proving right now with our prototype in Calabasas. It's going to be a complete concrete build where it's at the end of a street. So there's going to be a cul-de-sac with obviously a retaining wall to support that. And there's going to be vegetated roofs. So I know, Brian, I think everyone's seen the renderings. We plan on incorporating that. We plan on using the gray water systems. We plan on using a lot of technologies that it's still early stage, where we're actually trying to find what technologies we can implement into that. I have 48 seconds, but so being a right now project, it's actually going through the designs right now. If anyone has an input in this project, that will be something that I guess you guys can embark on and provide your ideas or expertise on.
Yeah, no, definitely. As Brian noted, and you obviously noted as well, the earlier the better. So yeah, definitely would love to connect and review the plans and see what type of input we can provide. as far as the solutions of maybe Hydraloop being a part of that project. Absolutely. And who's running that one? I'm sorry.
GloGreen is. Hey everyone, it's Chimmy here. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. Hi, Jimmy. This is
Hey,
Annie.
how you doing?
How are you?
Pretty good. You guys
Nice seeing
tired yet?
A little bit. But
What time is it in the Netherlands right now?
6:30.
6:30, yes.
Wait, at night or in the morning?
Night.
Oh, why are you tired? It's still early. we should be out in the streets partying. It's Thursday night, right? Come on.
You're absolutely right.
So no, I guess the only person that works hard is forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, is Anki. Right? You're the only one that works hard in this group.
Yes, I'm dealing with different time zones, you know. I'm actually almost working 24 hours a day.
Jeez, wow. That's nuts. But
Yes, but makes me happy.
kudos to you. Yeah, kudos to you for doing that. Wish I could be more like you. Yeah, without further ado, I guess you guys, what projects have you guys heard about from the GloGreen end?
Let me check our previous, the Frazier Park and the Sweden Hall. That's what
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So I'll be talking about the Hollywood Hills project. This is just a brief introduction. This is a project that's ongoing right now. Matter of fact, it's in the architecture and engineering phase. We just completed the structural analysis of the project, and we are currently stepping into the interior design, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing aspects of it. So it's, you guys, have you guys been to Hollywood before, or like LA area?
No.
Not yet. Looking forward to.
No, perfect. Yeah, well, I'm sure you've seen it on TV. It's a fun little part of the world, but it's a very expensive little part of the world. And so there's three things that we're trying to prove with this project is that we can do a luxury build. We can build a sustainable luxury build, but we can also build a sustainable luxury build that's affordable. So luxury shouldn't, it's like when you go to, well, here in America, when you go to Whole Foods, it's extremely expensive to get organic food, right? I'm sure in the Netherlands, it's totally different. You can probably get organic food that's, you know, affordable. But here, everything's inflated. It's just ridiculous. So what we're trying to prove is that you don't have to build super expensive and in order to call it luxurious. And you can also have the sustainable aspect of it incorporated into it. If you want to make a LEED Platinum project by the US Green Building Council, that's going to cost you an additional 20%, 20 to 30% on top of your cost. And that's just ridiculous. So this is one of our goals on this project, and we're implementing whatever technologies or sustainable technologies we can into this project. So we're always open to, and it was great that we met Peter. We were hired by the Vivative group to bring our expertise in sustainable design and everything. So if without further ado, let me let Rowdy, and we'll go around in the group to, I guess, present yourself on what your technology is and how you.
Great.
I think you lost connection for a little, or did I?
No, he's lost.
Yeah, he's out of the room now. No, I still hear.
Oh, Oh, sorry. I think it was me. Did you guys hear the last bit I said, or was I talking too much?
No.
An introduction, right?
The last
Yes, I
thing
think.
I heard was my name.
Yes. Yes, it was your name, and if you could just, we'll go around the room, but if you could give an introduction about your, yourself, your company, and how you think you could participate in this project.
Yeah, just to give a little bit of an introduction. My name is Rowdy, and that's my actual name. I'm the marketing manager for LEDX, and we create sustainable and circular waterproofing membranes made out of plastic waste. So that's a whole mouthful, but it all comes down to everything that you need to waterproof your building, like flat roofing membranes, but also the connections to the buildings, like chimneys or cavity walls. We create products for that to make sure that it remains waterproof for many decades. And we've been doing that for 5 years now. And before that, of course, research and development, but we've been selling the first product since 5 years. And by the end of next month, at the Dubai Expo, the World Expo in Dubai, we will officially launch our flat roofing membrane, and then from there introduce it in the Netherlands, Belgium, France, possibly also Germany, and then end of 2020, 2022, and also 23, we will then explore other markets and see what other cool projects are coming in. And we're essentially looking for projects that also find, well, it's in the Netherlands, of course, you can't really build anything anymore if it's not sustainable. And in other countries, this is also becoming more of a topic. So we're actively looking for projects outside of Europe also to work together with other companies to make the buildings as sustainable as possible with the technologies of today. So I guess that's pretty much sums it up.
That's excellent, Rowdy. Just quick question. I love that. Matter of fact, I don't know if you've seen the renderings of this project. It actually has a few flat roofs, but it also is going to require a few vegetated roofs as well. Reason being is it's kind of hot in LA. Well, sometimes now it's actually cold, but well, cold to us, right? Is like 66 degrees. That's really interesting. So it sounds like it's way better than EPDM roofing, if I'm not mistaken. And you guys use a lot of recycled materials. That's always huge, and that's always great for LEED. So thanks for sharing that, Rowdy.
Thank you.
All right. Please, can you pronounce your name?
Willemijn.
Willemijn, perfect.
Yes, you're getting there. Thanks. Hi. So I'm the owner of Raw Paints. We produce mineral paint powder because we thought water should be left out of a bucket of paint. No use to transport water from A to B. And then in addition, having preservatives and pesticides within that bucket of paint, which is bad for the environment as well as for human health. And we have started since 2015, made a track record, and we can say that for architectural coatings, there's no need to produce liquid paint anymore. So that's our contribution to the SDGs, to make it a sustainable world for our kids and theirs. We're now in talks with getting a sales and distribution partner, so we're able to scale up and then move on to the next level and conquer the world. And the way we really like to work is with pilots. So this whole event is interesting for us because we would like to showcase what we do, and then the paint will do the work itself. So eventually, if it works in the environment where it needs to be applied on, then we can move on to the next step. So that's it for now.
Okay, excellent. Sorry, I was on mute. Excellent, Willemijn.
Okay.
No, that's perfect. I totally agree. First off, when you have a team working with you, carrying a lot of materials sucks. especially when it's like really heavy. So reducing that weight makes it easier for them and makes it easy for everyone and reduces the time, the laborious time. So first off, that's a great invention or creation that you've done. I'd like to commend you on that. Obviously in this house, we're gonna need paint. It's gonna be white, so it's real simple.
No problem.
Well, to me, it's simple that it's white, but I'm sure in the production or the chemistry makeup of it, it could be complicated. Yes, it's very interesting. Okay.
No,
so is it
not
like
at all.
is it like a powder that you kind of spray on the wall and it sticks automatically, or you mix it with water? Okay.
No, that's what people think if you hear paint powder, but if you turn the words around, then you have powder paint, and that's used in the the car coloring. So that's a different application. No, we are a powder. So you buy a bag of paint powder, you add water at the time you really want to paint, mix it, and then apply it. So you mix also what you need. So there's no leftover paint. So it's in that regard, it's sustainable as well. So you don't spray
kind
it,
of
you
like
apply it. Sorry, kind of like.
So kind of like how you would if you were to mix a bag of cement. So
yeah, plaster. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Perfect. Yeah. And maybe I should save this. I'll save this question to the end. Or after everyone introduces themselves. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Willemijn.
Yeah, no problem.
And
so Jimmy, yeah, we are actually an infrastructure construction company based in the Netherlands. Yes, having a track record in Europe and expanding to the US. We are specialized in soil stabilization technology, and I see some similarities with Willemijn because we are also a powder. We are mineral-based additive. We completely recycle existing materials that are already on site. So compared to conventional construction, we don't have to excavate materials. We don't have to bring in new materials. We just work with the materials that are already on site. And by adding our 100% mineral-based additive, which is actually working in the cement hydration process, creating very strong road bases. But we work in all kinds of pavements. For example, roads, railways, runways, industrial areas, port projects. Water protection projects, for example. We are also participating in the Dutch flood protection program, being considered a sustainable innovation, a disruptive innovation. But at the other hand, being a proven technology, having a track record of over 20 years in the Netherlands and Germany. And before we were more in a niche market, because like Willemijn also said, the market is a little bit conservative. That's also in my area. But now, because of the climate changes, of the SDGs, etc., many governments are forced to work with sustainable construction methods. So actually we can add value to all kinds of construction projects. Also in housing projects, parking lots, all kinds of pavements. If you would like to save time and cost, then I think you would need us. So happy to work with you in the US. My partner Cheryl, she couldn't attend this call, but we would be happy to reach out and to see if there are some opportunities to work together and to make your project even more sustainable.
Excellent, Anki. Thanks for sharing. Just also a little bit more description on the project itself is, I think I mentioned we're building the retaining wall, but it's this is a hillside construction, right? So it's all the way up in the hills. Part of the requirements that the city has that when we're going through entitlements is that there is a lot of noise mitigation that needs to occur. There's a lot of reduced traffic that needs to occur. I had to do a traffic impact study to let them know how many truckloads of the cut of the soil. We're estimating about 3,500 cubic yards. I'm not sure what that is in I believe the metric system. You guys use there, is it the same? So 3,500 cubic yards has to be excavated from there. But our plan originally was to reuse the 3,500 for the retaining wall and for the roadway. So sounds like our I guess expectations and kind of goals align to a certain extent. I'm curious to know, you mentioned minerals are incorporated into it. Maybe we can get into specifics later on by reviewing documentation, but what type of minerals are used? Is it like we ran into a company that has this really light duty, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a paste that you mix with the already I guess already existing soil, and it forms this light duty, really durable I guess kind of, I wouldn't call it an asphalt, but like a layer that goes on top.
Base course, yeah.
Right.
We create the foundation of any infrastructure, so that we create bearing capacity. And in some cases, for example, for highways, it's recommended to put a small top layer of asphalt. But because the bearing capacity of our layer, we are not only doing light pavement, but we are also having for heavy loads. So we of course we have to make a design for it, and we are always faster and cheaper than conventional. But actually our product is a mineral base. It's based on alkaline, like porcelain components. It has many components. It's like our Coca-Cola recipe, of course.
Right.
So and it works in a cement hydration process. Normally cement is not flexible. It can crack or break. But by adding our product, it will be like a flexible layer absorption of vibration of heavy traffic. But also it can be applied to any type of soil, even very difficult areas. Some areas contain, for example, organic materials, but also pollutions. We also immobilize contaminated areas because we completely capture the pollution, the contaminated area. So yeah, I think there could be some additives in the United States already, but not what we have. It's really unique, and yeah, the way how we put it, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Matter of fact, there's another project. It's a multi-family mixed use that used to have a gas station on it. That GloGreen is closing on really maybe in the next few months. We're dealing with another city. This is closer to downtown LA. And there needs to be some sort of remediation of the soil that needs to take place. So if there's remediation characteristics to it, or protective barrier that can be implemented into this, that's always good. Again, even with that project, we're also in the beginning phases of it, and we're in close relations with the city. So if Hollywood doesn't work out, there's always another option. But thanks for sharing, Anki.
Thank you.
For everyone, I know everyone has new amazing sustainable products, but I guess the question is, do any of you guys have I believe was it Rowdy or Willemijn mentioned that you like to participate in pilot projects. but
me.
do any of you guys? Okay, Willemijn, yeah. Is there any certification that you guys already have in any way?
It depends on what you want, and I don't know if that is the same for the rest of the participants, but it depends on who's asking you for the certificate, because there are multiple certificates available, and so that's obviously pretty difficult for a startup scale-up like we are. I don't know what is required in the US to have.
So I only asked that, and not to generate apprehension on anyone's side. Matter of fact, at GloGreen, what we do is we have been able to navigate the code to get what we want. The code here in the US is just made, how do I say, it's still rudimentary. Like there is no, yes, certain products need certification. Obviously, if it's has to do with the structure of the house or whatever, yes, you know, you're gonna have to get these certifications. But take, for example, one of our materials is a recycled insulation. We have implemented it into one of the houses that we built. It, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't have the full-on certification that it needs, but we were able to implement it in order to say, hey, now feel the difference between our house and a traditional house. And from there, you can be like, hey, we have it existing in the US, go touch it, go feel it, go see it. And then you, for a startup, you can get the eye candy that you need and the attention that you need because it's here, and potentially the funding that you need because it exists. Yeah. So don't, and this is for everyone, you know, don't let the, it's a perfect time right now, as you mentioned, Anki, for ESG investing. It's crazy that it takes the government to say, oh, here's, you know, whatever $1 billion, go, you know, play. For people to actually want to take our world seriously. It's actually embarrassing. So yes, we're all about breaking the rules, but obviously in a safe way. We don't want any lawsuits, especially here in LA. You guys hear about the stories. It's crazy, but we do it in the most legal, professional, and creative way, for lack of better words. So again, don't let anything discourage you.
It's about managing expectations as well, because if beforehand you say what the needs are, and if you meet the needs and you make your appointments to that, then there should be no lawsuit. That's the way I prefer to work with, because we all agree that we have to move on to a more sustainable life, a more sustainable world. And only to do that, this is the route to go. So if we all agree that we participate and that we do our share and we take responsibility for our share, then nothing can happen. It's the only thing that you have a project as a showcase. And as soon as you have more showcases around the world, then eventually it will all happen. That's because then you can actually be disruptive in a conservative industry, because otherwise it's impossible. I've known for 5 years, and probably Rowdy and Anki can say the same. It's pretty difficult. So yes, a pilot would work, get everything in place, responsibilities for everyone, and solve problems instead of creating them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, one thing we have really noticed is that when we started developing these products is that they have to be at least 10 times better than the products they're replacing in the conservative industry like this. And so every product that we create, we aim to create the best product in its respective category. Otherwise, you can be as sustainable as you want, but people won't purchase it. It's as simple as that. The sustainability part is still not the major decision factor, at least for the lower regions, like roofers. They just want the best product available. So yeah, everything that we do, and we're actually already selling the LED replacement, the flashing, through our partner in the US, which is Viking. It's called GloGreen flashing over there. So if you want to have a look on Google, so it's already available. It's certified and it's being used on many projects. And the flat roofing membrane will have to look at distribution channel starting next year. But so yeah, but you're absolutely right that if we want the world to change, then the products that are made available just have to be great. It's the main requirement. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. No, exactly, Rowdy and Willemijn. That's exactly right. And we're not scared to push the limit. We've done it before. So Angelo originally is from Belgium. I'm sure he's talked about himself a little bit more, but he's also Italian, Sicilian actually. So he understands the European world really well. And I'm Nigerian originally. Sorry, I can't show my face right now because I've been driving again for this for one of our projects in Calabasas. But yeah, I'm originally Nigerian, but lived in England for a little bit and then moved to America, chasing the environmental and sustainable dream, believing that California was where it was at, but apparently not. Apparently I should have been in the Netherlands, right? But it's fine. It's fine. This is, sometimes the code, LA is very stringent, but if you meet the right people, if you have the right products, like, we're saying Rowdy 10 times better, you're going to catch attention. You're going to get some eyes. You're obviously already catching attention. Hopefully we can get Willemijn here. You already have something that, I go to every paint store and it's water-based. You already have something that's already eye-catching. So it's just your barrier to entry is a little tough because you need a project, right? And likewise for you, Anki, I'm curious to know your product makeup, but the fact that you're using the existing soil and repurposing it already saves the developer or builder a lot of money, as opposed to taking it to landfills, dumping it, dealing with all that shenanigans. So I'd love to continue this conversation some more as we deep dive the Hollywood project. You guys sound amazing. Again, we're in the beginning stages, so there's a lot of stuff that needs to go on GloGreen's part with the entitlement process and getting the permit, but that's where our expertise lies. And then the implementation of some of your products would come into play, right? That's how we did it for this project there in Calabasas. Is we fought with the city, whatever they needed, structural engineering calculations for the shipping containers, you name it. We provided them documentation. You give people documentation, people can only read so much and then they quit, right? So people are lazy. You give them documentation that they can't fight, they will let you through. So at least that's my experience. I love to read and I love to provide all the calculations you need to shut you up. And we always win that way. I haven't failed yet. Yeah, that's my advice. And I had a great chat with you. I know we still have some more time, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot through. I think Peter planning a visit, if anyone can make it down here in November, if I'm not mistaken, that would be great for you to see some of our projects, touch, feel, get a taste of LA, not work so hard, Anki, and grab a drink.
Looking forward, Jimmy.
But yeah, it's worth it, at the end of the day. So, you're always welcome here in LA.
Looking forward working with you. Thank you, Jimmy.
Awesome. I don't know how we go to the other room. You just hit leave?
I think we have like 30 seconds left and
yeah,
automatically go.
Yeah, or you leave the room. You can also leave the room.
So it's a pleasure. Thanks for your time, Jimmy.
thank you so much for y'all's time. Thanks for coming to the second event. Hopefully heard, and hopefully there's more discussions with us I guess working together in the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and let's see how we can take it from here.
Good plan.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good. Ciao.
Bye.
The Princeton University look that people really really like. So it's different options, but it all includes live plants, a lot of greenery.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Thank you for that, Dick. Thank you for that.
Hi, Dick. You had some airtime to the whole group, so great. Everybody's back, and Milene is doing the Sudoku puzzle at this very moment to make sure that the next round we're going to be in different project again and talking to different people. I hope the first one is exciting. I can imagine some people would feel more connection with one project than the other, so I'm asking some people to be patient until that moment has come that you can talk about the specific project. I felt in our room was a really interesting discussion going on, and yeah, Angelo also gave some extra teasers on different projects that they're working on apart from the very incredible Fraser Park project. But I don't want to give too many spoilers here for the rest of the group. I'm just wondering, we even shared, that was actually a cool thing, we shared the Expo 2020 where the Dutch pavilion won the most sustainable pavilion prize, and I saw Holland Circular Hotspot, Ruben was also involved there. Is that correct?
Yeah, maybe that's a bit too much credit, but we're involved organizing a circular economy program, and I think the pavilion is amazing indeed. You know, there are LEDX, they're in the room. You know that they are one of the sponsors, and they provide some of the products, and also Willemijn of raw paints. So some of the suppliers they supply to the Dutch pavilion, and I think it's a great collaboration. It's a biotope in its own. So it's yeah, something we maybe in the next meeting we can definitely show something more on the whole project. But yeah, it's iconic.
Thank you, Ruben. And I'm looking to Milene if
yeah,
okay, we're good to go. So have fun in the next round and see you after that.
So the Sweeten Hall project will stay here again in the main room with me. And then we have a new group, as I can see. So that's great. Yeah,
Wonderful.
Yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
Thank you. Carla, I think this time around, if we can start with the PowerPoint, that way we can just go through that. And I have requested the architecturals be sent. But essentially, what we are looking at is welcome everyone. What we're looking at here is a 1940s structure that was used as a service club, but it was originally built as a school. And Carla, can you stay within the top part where we were at, please, initially? Thank you, right there. And so as you can see right there, on the upper part of the visual there, those are temporary buildings. The County of San Bernardino is our tenant there currently. They have a Head Start. A Head Start is a schooling facility. And in the existing building, which is the lower part of the picture, we've determined that this is a historic building given by a study. And so that structure will remain the way it is. What we are envisioning here is to have an assisted living memory care facility in the back acre. So the facility will wrap around the existing building, if you will. And roughly, it'll be a 2-level building that will match the character of the existing architecture. And it will roughly have, given the code for this type of use, about 80 rooms. So there will be 80 assisted living facility memory care rooms that will be built in the back. The existing building will then become a common area facility. Food hall, administrative and such. And so that is what we've planned for this building. Maybe we can scroll down. This building is in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, which is about an hour east driving from Los Angeles. So it's inland in the state of California. Okay, Carla, can you scroll down, please? Thank you. There you have a little bit of a better visual of the building. As I was mentioning to you, it's a colonial revival style type of building. And there you have the existing floor plan. And so this building will remain as part of the project. Currently, what we've done in order to stabilize the project, while we continue down with the planning, is the county is our tenant in the back, and we are bringing in a tenant in the front that will be a school. Projects here take a few years for planning. And so both tenants know that eventually when we're ready to break ground, we will be relocating them. But in the meantime, they are there and they're helping us keep the lights on, if you will. We do have some architectural, more conceptual renderings that were mainly designed to have a feel for the massing, for what is possible given the code, to get a feel for the massing of what we're envisioning. And they serve, because the next step before we can actually say this is what we're going with is to have discussions with the local community to make sure that everyone is okay with what we're thinking, not only the city, but also the local inhabitants of the town. And so that's what some of the architectural renderings that we've completed, that we do have, that we can send to you are. So having said that, I don't have a lot of technical information on this project because of the phase that it's in, but I'd be happy to know if there's any interest on your part of learning more, receiving more specifics about the project, and also learning a little more about what it is that your interest would be. So I can open it up for discussion.
Alain, thank you very much for your for this introduction. If I may, I'm from High Tech. We are an infrastructure company based on, actually we recycle existing pavements. Our technology is circular by design, mixed in place, shortening construction times, and we can do all kinds of pavements. So maybe we can have added value to your project as well, saving costs and time.
Got it. Thank you. How do you pronounce your name?
Anki.
Anki. Thank you for that. Absolutely, we'll keep you in mind. So Carla, who is also my counterpart at the company, she's also in the room with us, and she's helping us take note. And we will be in communication. We will mutually reach out, get to know each other a little better.
Thank you, appreciate that. We are based in the Netherlands, having a track record in Europe, expanding to the US, and having our representatives in San Francisco. So we'll be happy to keep in touch and to reach out. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you for that.
So yeah, hello, nice to meet you. Just to give a little bit of information about our company, is LEDX, and we create circular, sustainable, water-improving membranes, but also LED replacements, which also replace zinc, which is used a lot in the US. And looking at this project, it might also be interesting to because I do see a lot of places where you would potentially use zinc or lead alternative. So if you're looking for something sustainable, something circular, that can also be indeed recycled after the product's lifetime, then yeah, I'm just thinking out loud a little bit, but it could be interesting for something like that to also be applied on the building.
Yes, no, absolutely. And as I was mentioning to the previous group, this is very much at the conceptual stage.
Mm-hmm.
We see the highest and best use for something like this, particularly since we are required, and we would very much like, and we are going to maintain the original structure because of its historic nature. To do an assisted living facility and memory care facility, that is what is in our heart of hearts, as they say here. That's what we would really like to do. However, there are many interests that at play, not only ours. And so once we overcome a couple of inquiries from the local community, and we get the blessing, if you will, from the city, then the plans will become a little more materialized. So as far as a project here in the US of this dimension and characteristic, it's definitely a good project to get involved in. It's a good time to get involved in a project like this, because the players, the technologies and the players have not been defined yet, right? Who is going to come to the table and who's going to participate. So it's a great time to be involved. So thank you for that, Rowdy.
Thank you.
Yeah, shall I give a little inside information about our company? My name is Willemijn, owner of Raw Paints, and we produce paint powder, mineral paint powder. So you buy it, you actually put water at the time of really want to paint, and then apply it. I do see, I think, some to be painted facades. So it would be interesting maybe to showcase our product as well later on at a later stage.
Yes, absolutely. That would be very interesting. Paint that is water-based. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah, it is actually. So it's the water that you use from your home, and it doesn't need any requirements. And the good thing about it is that where you have a bucket of paint, you transport water from A to B, but you also have the pesticides or biocides in it, as well as as we call the VOCs, the preservatives to keep the paint liquid. But those components do not do anything to the quality of the paint, only to the paint to stay good in a bucket of paint. So we say it can be different. You can add water to a mix or a formula of powder, which is a strong 2-component paint, which will not flake. We sell a white house. So once painted with raw paints, you never have to paint again. That's what we aim for. We exist for 5 years now, but the track record shows that we're heading to the next 5. So that's good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So water-based paint, that's always exciting to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Sure, Alan. Thank you for sharing this project.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can also give you a short introduction of what we do. As both, we're mainly in vertical farming, so producing leafy greens, microgreens, salads, and herbs. We do that in large-scale farms for supermarket and retail, so really the 5,000-10,000 square meter farms. Of course, it's all in-house and in 30-40 layers high. But we also have a small solution which we developed together with Space and Matters, the architects, to build a kind of, we call it our urban food hub, urban food tower. where we produce food and we combine it with recycling of organic waste from the community. So we get the waste from the community, we do anaerobic digestion, we produce our own energy, we produce our own water, and then sell it back to that same community. So we can make it really circular, climate neutral food production. And that we are developing in small scale buildings now. But I think a building like this is a bit too small to do that. You really need it to do in an area or in a city. So I don't know if this project is, how far it is outside LA, and if there's a big city around it, then it could be a combination. Otherwise, it's difficult to get it just in one building. It's a bit, we're not there yet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yes, as the lead developer here in LA for this group, we do have other projects. There's one that we held back from discussing during this round of conversation. It's an old orange packing house, and I can leave it at that. But we're going through a merger with a brewing company, so that project could be interesting. That structure may be interesting. And just to give you an idea, I think Carla is pulling that up. But Sweeten Hall, going back to Sweeten Hall is in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, which is a medium-sized city here in the United States. So it's definitely within the confines of the urban society here. It's a large city with all the bells and whistles. So as far as that's concerned, it may work. When you say small area, like what type of area? So the existing building's roughly 8,000 square feet, which I think if we divide by 3, we can get the meters.
Yeah.
And then what we're envisioning is building 80 rooms in the back, 80 rooms in the remaining acre. Okay. So either way, I'm really interested in learning more of what, how your system works and what area we need, because we have different projects in different stages that may not be featured in this.
Yeah,
okay.
I can easily mail you a pitch deck so you can see what the options are and what the different things that we do.
Wonderful. And Carla is helping us keep track of all of this. So
yeah,
fortunately.
Yeah.
Very good. And just to keep track of time, how are we doing with the time, Mylene, just so we know?
We have another 14 minutes left.
14?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So how many of, is there anyone that would like to share what it is that they do? I think pretty much all of us have shared. Carla.
I'm here.
Yes, is there anything that you'd like to share with the group that you think we've missed or skipped over?
No, just ask Willem, you mentioned that the paint is lifetime?
Sorry, a lifetime. Well, that's what we aim for. So what we've seen now is that we, apart from the test that we've done with TNO and TÜV in the Netherlands, to make sure that we have a product that is qualified and good on adhesion and UV resistance, we have a guarantee for 5 years. We also have, besides that, a track record. So we started off 5 years ago by painting ourselves. Those projects are still good. We are going to a new process now, finding a sales and distribution partner. And in that order, we can also make those tests, which are a bit expensive now for us as almost a scale up, to see what happens in 50 years time. So that's what we're aiming for. The tests are there, but they're quite expensive. But that's something that we are working on. And then we can officially say we can sell a white house. But I think we do, but you know, you have to show paperwork and in order to give guarantees. That's what this is all about, right?
Right.
Well,
it's interior and exterior, right?
Yeah, both. Yeah, and also on rooftops to reduce heat stress. We use it for its concrete. We're testing on wood. We are actually as well in the World Expo in Dubai, just as LEEDx, where we have painted the Rainmaker, which is on top of the roof of the pavilion, the Dutch pavilion. That was a blue container, and they've asked us to paint it white, which we did, and that's the ultimate test case. If it lasts in the desert with the heat, and actually on steel, because we're only tested on stone surfaces. So it's quite interesting, and I will be there by the end of this month to check if the paint is still good.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you. And Rowdy, I have a question also regarding the membranes. You say that they can be applied on. So this is also like walls and roofs, or also exterior and interior?
Yeah, indeed, exterior. We create waterproofing membranes from plastic waste. So we have flat roofs and low pitched roofs, which can be made waterproof with LEDx roof, our newest innovation. And we introduced the first product 5 years ago, which is a LED replacement. And that's usually used in wall connections, such as chimneys and cavity walls and applications like that. So yeah, we basically create waterproofing membranes for both slope roofed, but also flat roofs.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Okay, Carla, I shared with your Vivative email a rendering, another rendering that we haven't shown here that may be interesting for them to see. Okay. Just to begin to visualize how this project could look from a very, very preliminary floor plan type of way. But Carla, I emailed it to you. If you can, I shared it with you. If you open your email, it'll be there. Maybe you can share it with us. That one. That's it. So in the lower part, you'll see there it says existing building. That's the suite and hall facility, and then in the back is where we are planning the new building. That one. It would be consistent in terms of architecture, but it would be, it would be new, and it would have the courtyard in the center. So they'll have some water features, some green areas right in the center courtyard, and so that is what we're aiming for on the highest and best as we see it. And now we're looking for the community and the city's approval. So that's where this is at. But this very well may end up a vertical garden if the city doesn't like our plan, right? So yeah, very good. And if you guys don't have any more questions for the moment, I'm going to take a little coffee break. I'm just gonna go reach out and get some coffee. I haven't had any coffee, but yeah. So I'm here. Let me know if you guys have any questions. How are we doing with time, Mylene?
We have another 8 minutes before the other rooms will join us again.
Okay. Anything that you'd like to share from this slide, Carla? I just wanted to, for instance, the pavements, and I don't know if
I don't want to mispronounce her name. Yes, Anki.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. No, because
Yes.
I think there's going to be a lot of, I mean, places, but I don't know what in terms of the linear footage that you need for the, to cover the area and to make it, efficient to do the, if you see in the courtyard that you have those like walkways.
Mm-hmm.
This is more in the exterior for the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
Also for like parking lots, or is more?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, parking lots, especially parking lots. So actually we are working on a project in Oregon. It was also a parking lot of 60,000 square meters. So a huge parking lot. And we could have saved a lot of cost. We could have, we saved a lot of cost for the project owner because we fully recycled all the existing materials. So the project owner could save normally in conventional construction, building materials have to be excavated and new materials have to be transported to the site. So with our mixed in place solution, that's not necessary. So we really use everything mixed in place just by adding our product in Portland cement. And recycling all kinds of pavements, new constructions, all materials, and then saving a lot of time and costs, and and building a very strong solid base of pavement. But it can be used to, for example, for walking paths, cycling paths, internal construction, but also exterior roads, all kinds of pavements. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking. We'll be happy to share our brochure. I think I will find your email address in one of the emails. I will send it to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. So we did a preliminary resurfacing of this parking lot, right? But it was just preliminary because we don't know, what the future holds for the site specifically. But we will have to be, resurfacing this permanently, right? So it would be interesting to see what you have. Great, it's a great point.
Very good. I'm very excited.
I always miss a lot of things, and Carla captures them. So it's great that way. Thank you, Carla.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for sharing your email address, Carla.
Yeah.
I'll take note of it.
So how have you found the other sessions that you've participated during this meeting? Has there been anything of interest for this group in the other sessions?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Oh, in general. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I think so. I think we can add value to all the projects because there's always any kind of pavement involved, even though it's in all kinds of property developments. And for example, in the Netherlands, we are involved in water projects, dike projects, port projects. But there are so many constructions and highways or rural roads or all kinds of roads, industrial areas, parking lots. I think we can add value to almost all projects we have seen.
Yes, I think the particular like this group here between the paint and resurfacing and the water management. I think these are all things that can be brought into, if not one, some of our projects. So that's great. As I mentioned earlier, we held back another project that we're currently in the planning phases because we're looking to merge with a brewery.
So rather than bringing a tenant, we see the possibility of merging with a brewery, and not only for that site, but also expanding into other buildings. Beer has tremendous appeal and growth here in California, and so it's a good partner. So we're looking at that, and eventually we'll be able to share it with you once that partnership materializes.
Yes, your projects are very impressive. I like very much what I see, and yeah, I'm very excited to, and hopefully we can play a role in that.
Yes, absolutely. So far, so you've seen this project. Which other project did you have an opportunity to see?
Well, the previous session was, let me check the name. It was the Frazier Park.
Okay, so you saw Frazier Park.
Yes.
Very good.
And of course, there is a lot of infrastructure needed as well. So for this, yeah.
And you have not seen Hollywood Hills, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, so there's one more group, right, Mylene? There's one more group coming.
That's correct.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful.
And the rest will be joining us in about 1 minute.
Mylene is seeing the evolution of the presentations. We're getting a little bit, we're getting better as we go along.
Alain, do you maybe have a website or something that you keep updating with new content on the status of the project?
Yes, so Carla will put our main website, which is our company website. There you will be able to see not only projects that we have, but you'll be able to also see past projects. Okay, and it's never as updated as we would like it to be, you know.
I guess it's the case with everyone. Usually.
Yeah. But it'll serve an initial purpose. Okay, and you know, if anything springs from there, you know, please definitely do reach out to us through Carla. I think Carla is going to be our point person.
Yeah, and something that I wanted to mention right now, Alan spoke about the Alta Loma packing house that we didn't, you know, include in the presentation. But I think that adding the benefits of doing, you know, sustainable building is going to help us through that process, you know, with the entitlements and getting support from the city and also the neighbors.
You know, this so the city of Rancho Cucamonga, which is where the Sweeten Hall is, we also have the other property that we keep bringing to light, but not really sharing fully. However, I think the reason why we're mentioning as well is as you go into our website, you will see that project there, and now you'll have a little background of relatedness. So right now we took that one off the shelf as we're creating a joint venture. We didn't even know that that's the way it was going to come about. So we can talk more about that at a different time.
Cool. Are you already in talks with other sustainable companies? For
Was that a question?
Yeah.
Say again?
Are you already in talks with other companies that provide sustainable building materials?
To a degree. So GloGreen, who is presenting, right, is a part of this cohort that's presenting. We hired GloGreen in order to develop the next project that you're going to see, which is in the Hollywood Hills. You'll have an opportunity. So they are, you could say, our sustainable partner here in California.
Okay, cool.
Hey, we're all back together again. We had a very nice dynamic interaction, and I feel also since the conversation was still going on that it happened in the other rooms as well. We have one round left, and then all the projects have been covered. And Milene, how much time do you still need? Are you ready?
I'm all set. Yeah.
Okay, then let's not waste any more time with me talking here. So let's go to the last round and then see you after that.
Perfect. And then we have our last group here in the main session again.
Wonderful, wonderful. So why don't we start by pulling up the PowerPoint, Carla. Thank you all for joining us. And so where we are standing here in this project is the city of Rancho Cucamonga, which is east of Los Angeles, about an hour drive. And there's a very beautiful mountain called the Cucamonga Peak right behind the project. And it does get some snow there. It does get some snow. And the reason why I mention this is because the precipitation, the rainfall in the city of Rancho Cucamonga is a little better than what we get in Los Angeles. I'm not sure specifically if I could quantify it, but I'm sure it is quantified somewhere. But the long story short is we do get a little bit of rain here, a little more. This is a 2-acre site that we acquired. The building that sits there, an 8,239 square foot building, is a 1940s building, originally built to serve as a school. So the lower part there, you can see the suite and hall. Later on in its lifetime, it became a service club. So sort of like a community facility. When we bought it, it was being used as a community facility. The buildings that you see there in the back, in the parking lot, in the upper part of the image, are temporary facility buildings that are owned by the county of San Bernardino. They are our tenant, and they run a school there. And so in the main building, what we've done so far, we did a study of the structure, and it is a historic structure, which will remain because of its historic nature. And what we did is we brought the building back to its original state as much as we could. And we are housing a school there. So currently the property houses 2 schools, one in the existing building and one in the temporary facilities in the back. Which, you know, is something that's we're finalizing. We inherited the county as our tenant. We're finalizing that agreement. And we have a new agreement in place with the Excellence Academy, who is another school that is going to be running a school out of an operation out of there. What we envision for this property is the main building becoming a common area facility, food hall, administrative, right? And in the back is going to be roughly about 80 rooms, assisted living and memory care facility. So a building of that nature will, you know, should have the latest and greatest technology, right? Because of the nature that it's going to be medical, it's going to be senior folks living there, so we want to keep them safe and well protected. So as you can see, that is a bad image, but it is an image of a profile of what the existing building looks like. And to the right, we have a little bit of a floor plan. So as you can see, there are 3 distinct structures that make up Suite and Hall, the Suite and Hall. This is an iconic facility in the city of Rancho. Everybody knows the Suite and Hall. If you didn't go to school there, you used to go play there at some point.
because it was a community center. So it's very much embedded in the history of the city. And because of that, what we are envisioning right now has to run through not only the city, but also the community. So we did create some conceptuals. And I think, Carla, if we could jump into the other image that I recently shared with you, that one will give you a very rough idea of what we are envisioning. So what we have is the existing building there in gray in the lower part. And then in the back, roughly per code, what will turn out to be are 80 rooms for assisted and memory care. And in the center there, you have a courtyard, right? You have a courtyard and some green spaces around it. So the upper left, in the upper left, you'll have entry for more like service, you know, people that come to service the building. The main drop off and reception area is in the lower part of the image, which is kind of like that roundabout, which has an entry and an exit roundabout structure there. That's where people come in and to visit their family. And so right now, before we set our heart on in the direction of this project, the next step for us, once we get our tenants settled in, is going to be for us to share these conceptuals with the nearby community. We're going to be having some meetings, right? And for them to see what the future holds for this facility. The tenants there already know. We already have the contract that we have with them is one that such that when we are ready to break ground, we will be relocating them to a different place. And so this is all part of a greater plan. But before we can set sail on a particular direction here, we do have to go through the community and then the city. So that's the stage that this is in, and it's a great stage for companies like yours because we do have time to think and plan and come to a fit, right? Come to a fit. So that's why it's an interesting place, and it's a very interesting project, as it will require the highest, you know, of everything, as it will be a pseudo medical type of facility, right? So yeah, that's it. And maybe before I open it up, as I've been doing in the previous two sessions for everyone, maybe Carla, we're going to do it a little differently now. Maybe Carla wants to share with you something about the project. Typically, she answers questions all the way in the back of the session. But is there anything that you'd like to compliment at this time, Carla?
Hello again, everyone. Well, is again, you know, navigating with the city and getting permits and entitlements done. You know, it takes time here in LA. I don't know how it works in the Netherlands, but I think bringing all the benefits of having a sustainable, you know, circular facility will definitely help move the project forward, and see the support from neighborhood and and the city, and also maybe look into some grant money and support, or tax credits from doing utilizing all these green technologies. So not only looking at the cost and efficiency for the building, but also all the benefits that will bring for elderly people. We talked earlier about the green roofs and gardens and vertical gardens and all that can bring a lot of benefits for the health of the people living there, which they will be most of the time, they staying there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think thank you for that, Carla. That's a very good point. That goes along with, I think, something that I should mention that I haven't, but I think Ruben and Mylene is important for you to note. With respect to the ownership structure and the capital structure, which we have not mentioned, we're a boutique firm. We're a boutique development firm. And the way we capitalize our projects is a combination of debt and equity. The equity component is our own money as the developer, but also what we do is we break the ownership up into shares. And those shares we bring available to investors to acquire. So investors can acquire 1 share, 2 shares. Typically, in the structure, what we set aside is 40% of the ownership of the project. We set it aside for investor partners. And these are typically individuals. These are not, big investors. They are accredited investors here in the United States. But a lot of them are Carla's friends, my friends, family and friends is how we capitalize our project. So we don't have an institutional, backing for the things that we do. Our counterpart to the equity, right, are banks. So that's the debt component, and I think that's something important because it's also has to do with the sustainability, right? For there to be a sustainable project, everything begins with an adequate, sustainable ownership and capital structure. Very well. So having said that, opening it up for discussion, questions, and comments. TJ.
Thanks for your presentation. I was wondering just on the last part, are the shares also open to local community?
Is the what?
The shares. Can a local community also be shareholder of their?
That's a very good. That's a very good point, TJ. Thank you for saying that. So. I think I mentioned in the previous, when we first met a couple of weeks ago. So we never envisioned, right, doing business in the city of Rancho Cucamonga. These projects have naturally come to us and they've just become a natural fit. We've sort of been adopted by the town. When we first came in, we came in with our set of investors. And little by little, we have been making inroads in getting to know the community. And now we do have some community members that are investors. Like for instance, the local hair lady, the local lady that does the trimming of the hair and all the nails and all of that, she became an investor in one of the other facilities that we're not presenting here today. But yes, and that's exactly the type of investment environment that we would like to create is more of a buy-in from the local community. So thank you for that comment, TJ.
Yeah, I think that sounds very good because you're not just working on like the technical sustainability, but also on community sustainability in that sense. And I think we're working on similar kind of things here in the Netherlands to try to, here, I think it's actually a US thing, the Community Land Trust. Not sure if you're familiar with that system where actually the community owns or at least has governance over the land and then decides what's happening on the land. And with that, they can also secure that, for instance, housing will always be affordable for the community. So these are kind of things I think we are importing from the US and UK, but quite interesting. And also interesting to see if the community can also own shares in their local real estate. I think that's quite nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's definitely a topic. Carla knows I try to learn as much as I can. But I can't be everywhere. And this is definitely a topic that would be right up my alley, as I am involved in the design of the capital and the ownership structure for a company. So very interesting topic for me. Thank you for that, TJ.
Very good. Anyone else? I recognize Antonius.
Yes.
And then maybe we'll go with Antonius, and then maybe we can get to know Lydia a little bit more as well. Thank you, Antonius. Go ahead.
Yes, I looked into this specific plan as well. I think it's a great community project, complete other scale of Fraser Park. But the interesting part is here is still the scale and all the ingredients you just explained. And for us, in addition, I think we can support and we can add value towards all the outdoor spaces, all the facilities like the courtyard, but also the indoor-outdoor environment for public spaces. I think not only in furnishings, but also in smart technology, utilizing your abundance of sun, but also be smart with the building materials on that. But I think it's a great plan. I think TJ made a fantastic comment about the interaction and the connection with the community from a financial point of view, social equity. So I do believe that is absolutely, so it's a little village itself. So I see this, it could be a smart village. I would love to see it. We're trying to plan something maybe in November, as I also sent you an email on that to you and Carla, anticipating on this. This is what you need to see. You need to see also the surroundings. So besides the 2 acres, which is focused here, I want to see your neighbors. I want to see the back. I want to see the front. I want to see a little bit more about the environment, the dynamics in Rancho Cucamonga, and I think it's for us a very interesting plot and a very interesting project with all the ingredients you just explained. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Antonius. And I think what sparks up now is Carla is helping us keep notes and keep track of the conversations. I think what is coming to mind and Antonius is bringing to the table is maybe when the group is in town, Carla, maybe we can also have a small meeting and with the city of Rancho, because now we have two iconic projects in their town. In fact, there is a third project that they brought to us. They have an old train station that they don't know what to do with. So far, and that's going to take a very a special approach. It's going to take a special approach because of the nature of it is small. It's small. It's historic. It's a very frail building that needs to be maintained, encapsulated. In fact, you need to encapsulate it as it stands in order to preserve it. Who knows? Maybe that's a project that we can also take a look at as a team. But yes, I think bringing the city together during the time that they're here would be very beneficial for everyone. So thank you very much. And Lydia, would love to hear from you. I'm relatively familiar with TJ and Antonius as we had a previous meeting. I'd love to hear what it is that you do and just gain a little bit of relatedness.
Yeah, basically, oops, I'm muted. I'm a senior architect from Space and Matter, and I work on different projects of different scales, somehow in between sticking matter and space together. So both on spatial design, but also a lot of conceptual development. And maybe a bit elaborating on what Chert asked and said in terms of community being involved, but not on their ownership model. I would like to ask you if you, within this project, think about involving community in the design, like along the process, because this is a lot also how we do it here in the Netherlands, and we do it like with different workshops from the very, very early stages. And since this building, as you mentioned, is very important historical spot in the area, I believe that people will have a lot to say about it. And they do probably have, large attachment to the place.
I love thinking about that. Typically, what we do here, I'm not sure TJ and Antonio how much experience they have in working with actual entitlements. I think maybe Antonio's a little more, but here in California, it's a rough and rocky road to get these projects approved per se. There's the code and the politics there's a little bit of a delay of sorts, and I would also say it's cultural. The way you are describing the process in your experience and in your country is also a little bit of a cultural difference, right? Here, what we do is we come up with a concept, right, based on a code, the code, and then we do share it with the community. And we are more looking for to see if the concept is something that they would welcome, right? And I think during that time, we should definitely leave space and opportunity for them to contribute, right? To contribute and anything, because in actuality, they are the ones that are going to end up living here. Some of them, right? They played here, and then now they may end up living here. Some of them, if not their grandparents, right? Will, for sure, some of them may end up living here. So I love the concept of bringing, giving space, right? Opening space for their comments, for their input, I think would be amazing. So thank you for that, Lydia. That's incredible.
Maybe I can say something about it, because it's not, we don't really design with the community, but before we start designing, we're asking community, what are your fears of this development? What potential do you see in this development? And then people just, we have these workshopping methods, so they can just throw out stuff that they think is bad and things are good. And then we try, based on their input, make a design that fits the code, because we're dealing with the code here as well. But then you see that a lot of these people see in the design the things that they had in their mind, and that makes it instantly way more accepted by the community, a design. So that's a bit of a different approach. And we did the other way too, make a design, then go to the community. But we noticed that a lot of times people are always against something that is already there, and they cannot be against their own ideas. So that's the trick with the other way of working.
Can I also add, Tjeerd, and to your point, I think also timing is of the essence. Besides, of course, the local residents, the people who live there in that area, you have also the legislative body, you have governmental dynamics, could be elections, could be a mayor, could be a county executive. This all is in LA County, if I understand this well. So if you have endorsements from, let's say, Gary Gero, who we met in LA, if you have endorsements from local officials, I do believe that with what Tjeerd just mentioned and Lydia mentioned about this social equity and this social and integrated approach, that to me is an integrated approach, because that whole environment is based on the residents, the people who will use the building, who will operate, facilitate, build, but also everything around it, from county to the local officials. And I think when we have that approach, so I'm very pleased when Alain said, let's see if we can interact with the city officials, whether these are the officials and the residents, because that would be fantastic. I think you should start with two separate meetings, but then you blend it in, because based on the strategy Tjeerd just mentioned, I can envision that. And working now for 9 years on the edge of smart cities, real estate, urban design, I see that all comes down and boils down to the right timing, the right wording, because I just heard Lydia saying in the Netherlands, we do it like this. I think you should make that assessment how things are going in this case in California, which is not, for example, New York, where we are. So what I just want to say is I'm happy when we can express our expertise, when we share our expertise, that we listen, and that you have this unique space and matter concept, because they have a lot of experience. And I'm not paid by Space and Matter, but I tell you, I love the concepts also with the results, which sometimes they didn't know from the beginning that could give such a great output. And that also is, I think, the case here. We don't know exactly what the result will be, but I know for sure if we put the right energy in it with the right wording on the right time, then I do believe this can be a very successful project. Thank you, Tjeerd and Lydia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Antonius, for our pitch. Pitching.
Wonderful. No, and I will give the floor to Carla in a second. I know she wants to chime in, and there's a lot of learning. There's definitely a lot of learning for us as a boutique development firm. But very excited for what is being discussed, and the concepts, and the approach, the different approaches, and we're definitely community mindful, and the city of Rancho Cucamonga is small enough where these types of interactions can happen very well. So Carla, please join us.
Yeah, no, I really get excited when these topics come by, because even though we're aligned with the general plan of the city, that we see that how the packing house, not in the case of Sweet and Hall, but in the case of the packing house, and the hurdle is being not having enough parking, which you living in the Netherlands, people they really commute with a bicycle, and we're right next to a bike path. I will do my efforts to make sure that even if we don't have enough parking, we're incentivizing people to come using the bike, walking to the packing house. But also, seeing that even though we're aligned, we have that resistance. How do you find those cheerleaders and community leaders that they will help push the project? And one of them is the Chamber of Commerce. When you belong to a Chamber of Commerce, their job is to support the businesses that are part of the chamber. And actually, I've been talking to in some of the events that the chamber organizes. I've been speaking to the city, actually the people that they know about the project, and they've been reviewing, and they've been, even though they want to see that project happen in the community, they're a little bit cold. So that's why I'm saying, talking about the sustainability, they might add some more interest and willingness to find ways to offer some other options for the parking, to have the solution of maybe valet parking, or again, commuting more by bicycle. But also the government relations that you mentioned, that they're key when you're going to endorse, because anyways, they're going to be feeling very proud of the project. City of LA wants to be one of the greenest cities, or the first green city with electric cars. And I recently went to attended a meeting regarding the fast train that is going to go through Rancho Cucamonga and all the way to Vegas. So there's a lot of changes happening, and I think that all new constructions, they have to be aligned in trying to make the most circular and promote that. So I'm really excited to be able to put the meeting together. Actually, the president of the chamber is going to visit the packing house this coming week. So I'm excited to see that we can maybe put one of their meetings, their chamber meetings, at the packing house, and hopefully we can really program it around the time that you're going to be visiting, so we see the response from the community and also getting involved. I think because we're a boutique firm, it's hard to have these outlets for the community to chime in. Maybe through the chamber, there's a good opportunity to have that committee, development committee, where you invite the community to participate. I'm attending right now with Metro. Metro builds, throughout the city of LA. So I've been attending the meetings, and they not only invite the community, they are building strategic alliances with organizations, nonprofit organizations that are based in the community, that know the community, because, somehow developers, even though they go through all this investment and, effort to bring something beautiful to the community, they see you as the enemy, the gentrification. So just also teaming up with, the local nonprofit organizations that are community are welcome their comments is very important. So I'm excited to be finding those the leaders that they will help us, and that they are open to new technologies, because even though this is what the future should be, there's still a lot of resistance in changes. So very excited to have the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think everybody's coming back again.
Yes.
Good to hear that changing the systems is the hot topic.
Yes,
right?
it is.
It was the last one that I heard when coming back from the room, but that's actually what it is in order to be sustainable, right?
Yes, absolutely. And just for the general group, since we have been adopted in a way by the city of Rancho, now we are working on 2 of their historic iconic buildings. One of the things that Carla mentioned that is important to keep in mind, we will have, the city of Rancho will have that metro stop that goes from LA to Rancho and then to Las Vegas. So that's great connectivity for the city, and it will definitely help our projects.
Nice, thanks, Alan. And we're about to move towards the end of this meeting. I was in 3 great sessions, and I would thank all of the LA partners to spend their time here with us. Also, all the Dutch participants in the evening. Some people I really sort of pull them in here because obviously they have other obligations with family, with work. So I'm very happy that you could make it here. Thank you so much. I feel, and I mentioned some of the phrases already in the meeting rooms, that we found a needle in the haystack in LA. There's a lot of talking, there's a lot of ambitions, there's a lot of money, but when it comes down to really making it happen, it's sometimes pretty disappointing how much is actually possible. And with this, with GloGreen, with Vivative, it really sounds too good to be true, but it is good and it is true. And today I think they confirmed and emphasized that. Great conversations, which leaves me, and I actually asked all the groups already for the next steps. We can continue virtual meetings. Obviously, you can reach out individually, no problem. If you need more information, if you have questions, you can reach out to me and Ruben. But we also ask you, if we really want to see each other into the eyes, dive deeper, see the sites, we are willing and able to organize a 2-day work visit, 2-3-day work visit in November. And that will be on the 15th, 16th, or 17th of November, around that time. Most of you, if not all of you, mentioned that you would definitely being able or definitely try to come there, which is, for me, pretty much, we don't have to do another poll here. It's pretty much a green light, and for Ruben to follow up on that and to see what we can make happen even this year. Because for some projects, there is a window of opportunity because they are at the end of the finishing, and other projects is another opportunity because they're at the very beginning of development. So normally I would ask, but I've already asked the whole group. That's where I would like to leave it at. I also would like to thank Milena very much for the very smooth pit stops and switches. Thank you so much. Thank you. And yeah, if there's no other burning comment or questions, then we all did it within the 2 hours. But I also would give you the opportunity to still share something if you like. Whatever.
Well, Peter, maybe to comment, I feel like thank you guys for showing all these projects. I think that's there's a lot of energy there and a lot of openness. I feel like that there's so much still to brainstorm on. You know, what could be the next level? If you see the kind of companies that we have here together, they are the best practice from the Netherlands. And I'm sure if we would organize something and sit down together in a room, you know, and really go wild, like you were talking about, like Angelo said, you know, these projects we want to go, no, we want to be next level. So I think that it's a great opportunity to sit together, to brainstorm on, you know, circular design and to involve community mobility. And I'm sure if we bring those companies together, that they really can make your project, you know, the best ever. Yeah. So thanks a lot for sharing all this and yeah, taking the time to explain what you're working on. Great.
Oh, yes, wonderful. And thank you everyone for being here. One of the things that I want to leave you with that I was sharing with TJ and Lydia and the last group that we were with, we're a boutique firm, and bringing sustainability to a project has everything to do with the capital structure and the ownership structure, which is something that we had not mentioned before. The way we do it is we do it as a combination of debt and equity. We typically reserve 40% of the ownership of the project in the projects for small investors, family, friend, and local community. And more, we're bringing local community to the table. But essentially what we do is we divide the projects into shares, call it 100 shares, and we typically reserve 40 of those shares for small individual investors. We don't have institutional investment backers on that side of the table. What we do have on the other side, which is the debt component, is we work with private lenders and banks. And so that is our capital and ownership structure. As the development firm, we typically hold 60% ownership in our projects. And that is the way that it's designed. So with an emphasis on bringing community to participate as investors in our project. So thank you for that.
To hear.
Thanks so much, Elaine, Carla, Angelo, and Jimmy. And we follow up on this. And I'm really looking forward, very excited about what's coming.
Absolutely, and we'll see you here in November.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye.